Capricorn. Welcome to your February 2017 love reading. It's Raina here. Alrighty then. Okay, I swear. If you've seen my readings in the past, you know that this is something that I keep drawing. I actually drew it in another reading just now. It's pretty funny. Oops. It's probably tilted, right? I'm having issues with my tripod a little bit. Okay. Interesting. Right off the bat, I think that there may be some people who are choosing between an earth sign. So this is Virgo and Taurus, and your sign, Capricorn, and a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Remember that it's more of the personality, and it could be in their personal planets, maybe their moon, maybe Venus, Mars, in fire or earth, rather than officially the sun sign. Maybe, you know, any of those that kind of lend an influence on the overall personality. So we have two distinct personality types. One person is very practical, and they can be very good with money. They can be very dependable and sometimes materialistic, overly concerned with the financial side of life. And then you have somebody who can be very ambitious but very passionate. And maybe, for a Capricorn at least, maybe a little bit too, you know, I would say undependable, or I was going to say like out of control. Because, you know, fire, when it gets so expansive, it can get out of control. It can become a complete blazing situation. But so these are two distinct personality types. Now, you would gravitate more overall towards somebody who's an earth sign, because you are an earth sign yourself. So you identify with the traits of somebody who is like that. However, we know that opposites attract, and we know that maybe physically the person who is a fire sign or who has that fiery nature is more attractive to you than the banker, the dependable one. The person who is the fire sign may be very creative, and they may stimulate you not just physically but in terms of having fun. And you may feel like they have a good influence on you. But in relationships, now let's say this was an Aries person, you might feel like you were being more parental, and you were kind of doing all the cleanup work in terms of, like, you know, making sure everything was, all the bills were being paid, and just all the practical stuff of life. And the other person is kind of, you know, without responsibility. And some people don't mind that. It's not that it's always going to be a bad fit, but if the other person is enabled to the point where they're, you know, totally
childlike and they're not taking responsibility for what they're supposed to be doing, then it can get into a dynamic where you're getting more and more into that parental role, and you can end up feeling aggravated, to say the least. So that may be something that would be down the road if this is something that you haven't had if you haven't had this relationship very long. Now, I just got done doing another sign, and it was, similar. Whenever you see the number 2, and so we have the number 2 here, and this is for the current situation. Sorry about this tilting that. You see that there is this dilemma on the person's hands, a choice that needs to be made. And the person may feel like, okay, what do I do? I have no clue what I should do. And this is because there are attractive elements within both people. So whenever you see a 2, there can be duality choice that has to be dealt with and integrated. If it's not actual 2 things that you're choosing from, it's 2 parts of your nature that need to be fulfilled. Another possible, remember that this is a general reading, and these are symbolic. The tarot is symbolic, and look at it in terms of anything that connects with what's going on in your life. Now, this is for February. If you're listening in January, you still may see some of the themes, because for the past, we have the 6 of Pentacles. Now, even with the 6 of Pentacles, this could be alimony. This could be somebody coming out of a divorce situation and getting a certain sum of money from a past relationship. And it's funny, the number 6 relates to domestic bliss and love, actually. That's why the Lover's card in the Major Arcana is number 6, because Venus is connected to number 6 in numerology. So I picked a 6 for the past, and now we have a 6 for the overall theme, which is that card that I keep drawing. Now, here I'll tell you what the keywords of the 6 of Cups are. One is soulmates. Another can be the past. So this is nostalgia. This is like looking back and seeing something idyllic, ideal. Innocence, purity, children, could have to do with children. Somebody who is divorced and they have a divorce settlement. Now they're taking care of the children and they're thinking about traveling. Now in a love reading, you'd say, well, where's the love in that? Well, maybe you are somebody who is starting over again. And I do feel that way that some people are, because then we have as a higher message, the message from the universe, we have the 3 of Wands. Another Wands card. So this is fire energy. This is connected to this is connected to travel and to expansion, ambition, creativity, business, things like that. So that may even be some kind of a job offer that's overseas, far away, and you're thinking about taking that after you've gotten divorced. Now, so maybe you're freed from a marriage. So I'm assuming that it wasn't a happy one. For other people, it could simply be that you were with what do you call it? An earth sign, and now you're with a water sign. The cups can be representing Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Another element that you get along with very well, that you're on the same page with, overall, of course. And the 2 of Wands could be you deciding, if you're not divorced, if both of those people are in your life in some capacity, maybe you're not actually seeing the water sign. And remember, it could be somebody that just has that dreamy
gentle nature. Maybe they have other planets in water signs that are prominent in affecting them. But it could be like you deciding between a passion and practicality. And, you know, for a Capricorn person, that's a big dilemma, because you really do, you're very ambitious. So somebody who is like, you know, a loose cannon, that person isn't going to be someone that ultimately would enhance your life. You know, it would be like a headache for you, but they may spark something within you that's very, very passionate. If it's a water sign individual versus an earth sign person, the water sign person may, or let's not, we don't even have to say a water sign, a soulmate connection. Maybe you feel this connection on an emotional level or a soul level, and the other person, the earth sign, or representing that financially secure person, they stimulate that part of you that likes security and likes stability, but the other person is fulfilling you emotionally, and so that's where the dilemma lies. I can't help but think that there's a fire sign person, though. However, I think the fire sign person is problematic because this person is appearing as the card that crosses you. So it's going to be in the challenge position. And this could be a boss that you're having an affair with, I guess, because kings can be in positions of authority over you. This could be the father of your child. Maybe you had some kind of a fling. Maybe it wasn't even that a real long relationship, but it was with somebody that you conceived a child. And so that person is going to be in your life for 18 years. And maybe, you know, some people, they, even if they have moved on to other relationships, they still sometimes sleep with their ex-partner or something like that, and or they find it very hard not to when they come in contact with that person. It could be something like that. It could be that this person is very controlling, and that's why you can't be with them. If I were going to say a fire sign that would exemplify that, I would go with Aries, but Leo, a close second. And one thing about, I can't remember if somebody ever told me that they were with a Capricorn, tell me what they were with a Leo. Leo and Capricorn both share one thing, well, a few things. They're both natural leaders, and they're both naturally ambitious, and they both, you know, like to be with the movers and shakers. They like to be, they're very status conscious, okay? So that can be where you have a certain connection with a Leo, and if it's on the job front, then that can be an even more of a thing that you have in common with this person. But then the flip side is that they may be very dictatorial. You know, that's a shadow element of Leo, is to be very, you know, like a petty tyrant type of a person. But that's not going to be every Leo, obviously. That's just if you happen to get to somebody who maybe does not feel as confident as the typical Leo person does. With Aries, it's more of just a general bossy nature because it's a cardinal sign and you're a cardinal sign. So it's not uncommon for Aries and Capricorns to find each other. But I don't know how common it is for them to stay together. Just because when two cardinal signs come together, that are either squaring each other or opposing one another. Although the opposition is friendlier for some reason with relationships. an opposition that's like in 180 degrees, within a few degrees. That is considered a challenging aspect, but your complementary sign is your opposing sign. So I'm a Sagittarius, my complementary sign is Gemini. So even though, Capricorn and Cancer are opposing signs, they still are considered compatible. Whereas a lot of the other aspects that are oppositions would be considered, hard aspects. So that was a rather long-winded and maybe confusing way of saying that opposites attract, and also that people that are even that square one another, like you and Capricorn and you and Libra, sometimes find one another, but it's not necessarily, I think with all of the different signs getting together, I think sometimes two cardinal signs can have too many power clashes, both people wanting to be the top dog. So that can really create issues. But this person just may be a little bit too power hungry. The king, anybody who's in a position of authority, if they are secure within themselves, they don't need to lord things over other people. Misusing power is a sign of weakness, and so for whatever reason that this person may feel compelled to do so, you're not at that level anymore. Maybe you tolerated it for a certain time, but now you're ready to move on. The advice, well, this is showing the earth element winning over. This is also a card, I wouldn't be surprised if this is associated with Capricorn, actually. So for those of you who have a Capricorn person, a fellow Capricorn. Now, this is the 10, which is connected to family of Pentacles. So it can be family money, family business, but it's family wealth. It's personal wealth. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of you met somebody on the job even. But this could be a family business. This could be your own wealth, and it's a substantial. If it is, it's something that is really a good, very extensive. It's a card of financial abundance, and then some. And so if that's a person, it would probably be that person who has earth as an overall element. And, that's interesting. I always wonder how people handle having that happen during a reading. But the outcome is the Two of Cups, and this is about committing to a partner. So this is also about reuniting, and so I did feel that for some people, the person that you have made contact with, maybe that person is somebody from your past, like a childhood sweetheart, high school sweetheart. And we do, in January there's a Mercury retrograde, so that could be a time when you heard from that person, or even in late December, around the holidays, or even before the holidays. So that may be somebody that Two of Cups could be you reuniting with a person that you had split up with or from. And you're getting back together, or you're committing to a partner. Now, if you're committing, if you're making something official or, deeper, then perhaps you broke up over some conflict over, where you're going to get married. And maybe that, one person kind of balked at the idea and then ended up, maybe dating someone else and made them see that this relationship was really a valuable one, and that they should just hold on to it as long as possible. So that sounds great. I mean, it ends in a very romantic way. So I hope you enjoyed this, Capricorn. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below this video. Otherwise, have a great February. Bye.